Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are this evening's headlines. 12.44 lakh crore rupees in demonetized notes collected so far. RBI urges public to freely use notes and not hoard them. Senior RBI official among 9 arrested in Bengaluru for allegedly exchanging 1.5 crore rupees in banned currency notes. Former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram and Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi called demonetization decision absurd and thoughtless. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley asked opposition to rise above slogans on demonetization move. Death toll due to cyclone Varda rises to 10 in Tamil Nadu. Flights to Chennai resume as power is restored in the city. Storm likely to move west-southwest and weaken gradually into a depression in the next 12 hours. Congress demands removal of Kiran Rijiju or 450 crore rupees hydroelectric project scam in Arunachal Pradesh. Union Minister denies allegations, calls it planted news. Parliamentarians pay homage to martyrs of the 15th anniversary of the 2001 Parliament attack. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari, Lok Sabha Speaker Sumitra Mahajan pay floral tributes to brave hearts. Well, the Reserve Bank of India has asked the public to freely use currency notes in their possession to keep them in circulation instead of hoarding them. Urging the public to do so, the RBI also said that banks have collected 12.44 lakh crore rupees in demonetized notes till now.
Banks have collected 12.44 lakh crore rupees in demonetized notes since the decision was announced on November 8th. Addressing the media in Mumbai, RBI Deputy Governors S.S. Mundra and R. Gandhi also requested the public to freely use notes they have rather than holding them.
The system has been continuously gearing up for supporting the circulation of notes in the hands of the public. Daily we are issuing more and more notes, getting it printed and issuing it, and this will be a continuous affair, and the public are requested to freely use the notes that they have in their hands rather than hoarding it.
Meanwhile, a senior RBI official was one of 9 men arrested by the CBI in Bengaluru for allegedly exchanging 1.5 crore rupees in banned currency notes. Nearly 1 crore rupee was found in the raids that were conducted over the past few days. The arrested people allegedly charged between 15 and 30% for conversion.
Reserve Bank of India and its team is also coordinating and collaborating with the various investigating agencies as they come back with the details of the action which are noticed by them.
The CBI has also arrested an alleged Hawala operator KV Virendra in connection with the seizure of 5.7 crore rupees in new currency notes of 2000 rupee denomination. CBI has also registered a case against officials of 4 banks, the State Bank of India, State Bank of Mysore, ICICI Bank and Kotak Mahindra Bank.
In an operation of this size, there are always elements who would have behaved otherwise than what is expected of them, and we are keeping a constant vigil on the same. We have issued elaborate instruction to all the bank managements to do the central data checking, and whenever they find any inconsistency, it should be pursued further through their internal audit mechanism.
These arrests are the latest in a slew of arrests for money laundering or illegally exchanging currencies since November 8th, when demonetization became effective. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the Income Tax Department stares at a huge volume of black money cases post-demonetization. Limited manpower and infrastructure facilities to probe instances of tax evasion will pose greater challenges. Tax litigations are also expected to surge. Here's a report.
Once the demonetization deadline ends on December 30th, the income tax officials are expected to get into the act of scrutiny and assessment. The department tackles around 3.5 lakh cases in a year. But post-demonetization, Reports say that even just 1% of the 40 crore bank accounts are deemed suspicious. It will translate into a staggering 40 lakh cases that will need scrutiny. Limited manpower coupled with almost 30 to 35% vacancies in the higher positions make the challenges even more enormous.
It's a huge task. As on date, I don't believe the department has such a big setup with it to carry out verification. One way is a preliminary verification, which may not take much time, but if it is a detailed scrutiny, then it definitely is going to be a challenge to the department, and the department may need extra manpower.
Experts also feel tax litigations will increase post-demonetization. Already around 73,402 tax appeals above 10 lakh rupees and 1,85,858 tax appeals below 10 lakh rupees are pending before the Income Tax Department across the country.
If they start invoking the Benami Act, then they have to send notice to the person who gave the money. So both are going to contest in court. And there will be civil litigation, there will be litigation in revenue authorities, and that's the starting point. Then you go right up to the Supreme Court.
The IT department is also expected to scrutinize unusual deposits made into accounts even if they are less than 2.5 lakh rupees. It can also red flag Jan Dhan accounts that were hardly active or inoperative and now suddenly have 50,000 rupees deposits. The Income Tax Department would be saddled with a large number of cases post-demonetization. Once the notices are sent, the tax department will have to wait for the response of the taxpayers. After scrutinizing the response and a preliminary inquiry, a tax appraisal would then be sent to the assessing officer. And the entire process is expected to be extremely cumbersome. Reporting from Delhi with camera person Jitendra, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
Meanwhile, the Congress party today targeted the India government on the issue of demonetization. While party Vice President Rahul Gandhi accused the Prime Minister of waging a war against the common people, former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram termed the exercise a thoughtless move. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, however, defended the government's decision, stating that the situation will normalize in a few weeks.
The war of words between the government and the opposition on the issue of demonetization intensified on Tuesday. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi took the lead, visiting a food grain market on the outskirts of Delhi. Interacting with farmers and food grain traders in Dadri, Rahul said demonetization has been done to favor a handful of rich people at the cost of poor.
गरीब लोग, किसान, मजदूर, महिलाएं सब लाइन में खड़े हैं और जो काला धन वाले हैं वो बैंक के पीछे से पैसा निकालते हैं। मोदी जी ने कहा था मैं भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ लड़ूंगा। भ्रष्टाचार को उन्होंने बढ़ावा दिया। पूरा नया ब्लैक मार्केटिंग का सिस्टम तैयार किया।
Another senior Congress leader and former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram also launched a scathing attack on the government, terming the decision an absurd move and the biggest scam in country's history.
People of this country must be sensitized to the fact that this is an assault on the poor. This has broken the back of 45 crore people who depend on a daily wage and a daily income. With a completely thoughtless, meaningless move by the government, and ultimately it may yield no results whatsoever.
However, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley defended the demonetization decision, saying the Congress party's scandalous record is making it uncomfortable. He also said that demonetization will help India become a less cash economy and digital payments will help shore up tax revenues and check evasions.
Each of the scandals which is even today discussed in the public space belongs to that period. Given this scandalous record, it is not surprising that the Congress party is extremely uncomfortable with this anti-corruption campaign that the NDA government led by Mr. Narendra Modi has launched.
Jaitley also said that there are transient problems, but the remonetization exercise will be completed soon and RBI will inject a significant amount in the banking system in next 3 weeks. Vishal Dhaya, Rajya Sabha TV, Delhi.
Well, there are just 3 days left in the winter session of Parliament, and it is likely that demonetization will continue to cloud proceedings. While the opposition has been demanding a discussion under a rule that entails voting, the government says it will discuss the issue but without a vote. The opposition also wants the Prime Minister to participate in the debate. Among the verbal duel, the session has so far been a near complete washout. Well, let's go across to our correspondent Vishal Dahiya to get a sense of what can be expected over the next 3 days. Well, 3 days to go, Vishal, as far as Parliament is concerned. So far, of course, it's been almost a complete washout. What can we expect in the last 3 days?
Well, to be frank, there are no positive signals from either sides. That's the opposition as well as the government. In fact, both sides have stuck to their respective stand, which has been clear since the beginning of the winter session, while the opposition in the upper house demands Prime Minister's presence throughout the debate, as well as an apology from the Prime Minister on the remarks made by him against the opposition leaders outside the House. In the lower house, the opposition has demanded that the discussion should be under a rule which entails voting. Now, the government on its part has clarified that the Prime Minister will be participating in the debate, that is through intervention, and reply to the debate will be given by the Finance Minister. But in the lower house, the government insists that the discussion should happen under a rule which does not entail voting. And in fact, on the notices given by two MPs of non-NDA parties, that is BJD and TRS, the Lok Sabha Speaker last week in the beginning, that's on Monday, had admitted those motions under Rule 193 and had even tried to initiate the discussion. But due to din, it did not happen. The opposition parties, specifically the Congress and the TMC, kept on protesting throughout the week. And the similar situation is likely to prevail tomorrow as well. In fact, just a short while back, the Congress has issued a 3-line whip to all its members in both houses to be present throughout these 3 remaining days of the winter session. And there will be few more rounds of strategy meets tomorrow morning. The Congress is likely to have that meeting around 10:30. And the similar might be true for the government, which has, the BJP has a parliamentary party meet every Tuesday. But since today was a holiday, tomorrow there might be a strategy meet of the ruling party as well.
All right, Vishal Dahiya, we'll have to relate to that. Thank you so much for joining us there with those details. Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, flight operations have resumed in Chennai and the process of restoring power has also begun as Tamil Nadu counts its losses after the devastation caused by Cyclone Varda. The official death toll has reached 18. The cyclone has now weakened, but it is expected to pound the state with heavy rain over the next 12 hours. Cyclone Varda is expected to pass over South Goa on Wednesday.
A day after Cyclone Varda made landfall in Chennai, the city is devastated. Chennai woke up to thousands of uprooted trees, broken billboards, snapped telephone and power lines, even as low-lying areas reported severe waterlogging. A total of 10,432 people were rescued by 19 NDRF teams in different parts of Tamil Nadu.
From today, we've pressed in 3 more teams because since yesterday, after the landfall, immediately NDRF teams began their operation of clearing the roads because due to the squally winds, a lot of trees and electric poles had fallen. So NDRF began its operation by clearing the trees so that there was minimum inconvenience and to prevent dislocation.
तमिलनाडु के सीएम ने यह बताया कि सिचुएशन अंडर कंट्रोल है. मैंने कहा कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के और किसी असिस्टेंस की जरूरत होगी तो असिस्टेंस प्रोवाइड करने को हम तैयार हैं.
In terms of loss of human lives, the damage wasn't huge as authorities had already evacuated at least 20,000 people from low-lying areas. Schools and colleges were also shut as a precautionary measure. Flight operations resumed on Tuesday in Chennai as the city limped back to normal.
In Tamil Nadu, we have deployed 7 teams. So all 6 teams are deployed in this Andhra Pradesh area. And our 2 teams is deployed in Solurpeta because it is very crucial. That's we are deployed here. And we are completely in standby position. And we are completely in condition to handle the situation.
There have been 4 diversions in the morning. But we hope the weather will improve by 12 o'clock. And hopefully things should be all right.
Resident volunteers have joined hands with the authorities to accelerate relief and rescue operations. Electricity is yet to be restored in many parts of Chennai. 2 ships of the Indian Navy arrived at the Chennai port with tons of relief material.
The ships have come with relief material, which include food, clothes, blankets, tents, medicine for distribution to the people of Chennai. We are in complete coordination with the state government. I am in touch with Secretary Public, and he has directed that all the relief material that is coming from Vizag on these ships has to be handed over to the Chennai Corporation.
Cyclone Varda had struck the coast on Monday afternoon, making landfall about 15 kilometers from Chennai. The cyclone has weakened after crossing land, but the Met Office has forecast heavy rain over the next 12 hours. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the Congress today demanded the resignation of Union Minister Kiran Rijiju in connection with a scam involving 450 crore rupees hydroelectric project in Arunachal Pradesh. Brushing aside the allegations, the Minister of State for Home Affairs called the reports planted news.
The Congress on Tuesday accused Union Minister of State for Home, Kiran Rijiju, of involvement in a 450 crore rupees hydroelectric scam in Arunachal Pradesh. It has demanded his resignation till an investigation is conducted. The party also released an audio tape of a purported conversation between Rijiju and his cousin about the 600 megawatt power project. It also demanded an investigation against all the senior officials associated with the project.
किरण रिजिजू जी की भूमिका इस पूरे मामले में संदेह के दायरे में है और उसके प्राइमा फेसी सबूत ये उपलब्ध है। एक दिन भी गृह राज्य मंत्री माननीय किरण रिजिजू जी को अपने पद पर बने रहने का अधिकार नहीं। प्रधानमंत्री जो पारदर्शिता और ईमानदारी की बात करते हैं, उन्हें चाहिए कि वो इसकी जांच एक निष्पक्ष एजेंसी से करवाएं, तब तक गृह राज्य मंत्री को अपने पद से बर्खास्त करें।
Rijiju, however, brushed aside all allegations of corruption leveled against him and his distant cousin. He said people planting such news will be beaten up with shoes if they came to Arunachal.
This is shameful. Who has planted this news? To help your own people is corruption.
आपने लेटर नहीं लिखा? अभी छुट्टी
लिखेंगे।
आपने लिखा था लेटर?
ये जो ये न्यूज़ प्लान कर रहे हैं ना, हमारे वहाँ आएंगे तो सब जूते खाएंगे।
Rijiju, his distant cousin, a contractor and several other officials of the Northeastern Electric Power Corporation have been accused of corruption in the construction of the biggest hydroelectric project in Arunachal Pradesh. Their names have been mentioned in a 129-page report submitted by the Public Sector Undertakings Chief Vigilance Officer. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the nation today paid homage to the martyrs who sacrificed their lives while defending Parliament House from the cowardly terror attack on this day in 2001. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, leaders from different political parties and MPs paid floral tributes to the martyrs at the plaque in Parliament House this morning. Some of the martyrs' family members were also present during the ceremony.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari and other parliamentarians on Tuesday paid tributes to the martyrs of 2001 Parliament attack. Parliamentarians including Lok Sabha Speaker Sumitra Mahajan, Congress President Sonia Gandhi, former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh placed wreaths in the Parliament House complex and observed silence in honour of the martyrs.
सबसे बड़ी पंचायत है ये पार्लियामेंट और उसकी सुरक्षा में उन्होंने अपने प्राण न्यौछावर किए। इसलिए आज उनका उस दिन को हम लोग शहीद दिवस के रूप में मनाते हैं और अपनी श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करने के लिए हम सब लोग यहाँ मौजूद हैं।
डेमोक्रेसी के
मंदिर को, टेंपल को बचाने के लिए अपने जीवन का बलिदान दिया और हमारे सभी एमपीज़ को, लीडर्स को, स्टाफ को और पूरी पार्लियामेंट बिल्डिंग को बचाने के लिए प्रयास किया। तो ऐसे शहीद अमर होते हैं जो देश के लिए बलिदान देते हैं।
On 13th of December 2001 at about 11:30 am, 5 heavily armed Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists stormed the Parliament House complex just a few minutes after both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha were adjourned. All the terrorists who were armed with AK-47s and hand grenades were killed before they could enter the main building. 5 Delhi police personnel, a woman Central Reserve Police Force official, 2 Parliament Watch and Ward staff and a gardener were among 14 people who lost their lives in the attack.
इस दिन को याद करते हैं तो हम तो ये समझते हैं कि ये लोग हमारे साथ खड़े, ये हमारे सहयोग के लिए खड़े। जब भी इनको हमारी ज़रूरत है, हमें इनकी ज़रूरत है, वो तैयार है। हमने जब जब इनसे काम लिया, हमें सहयोग दिया।
श्रद्धांजलि तो हम अपने घर पे भी देते हैं, लेकिन ये थोड़ी है यहाँ ला के बुला लिया, बस ना कोई बात करता है, ना कुछ पूछता है कि आपको क्या परेशानी है, क्या नहीं है। पूछना तो चाहिए लोगों को, लेकिन ऐसा कोई सिस्टम ही नहीं है इनका।
Mastermind of the attack, Afzal Guru, was subsequently arrested by Delhi police and was later hanged on 9th of February 2013. With Pranav Goswami and Panchanan Mishra, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Moving on now to some international news, where residents of East Aleppo are sending out desperate messages imploring the international community to save them as they are trapped in besieged districts of the Syrian city. This as heavy bombardment continues with the Syrian army and its allies in the last moments before declaring victory in Aleppo. Government forces have taken control of almost the entire territory once held by the rebels.
Celebrations on the streets as the last of eastern Aleppo's neighborhoods are set to fall to the Syrian regime. A bloody end to the 4-year battle for the control of the city. The Assad government already controls western Aleppo, and now its troops claim to have taken control of 98% of the east as well. The government forces entered here on 27th of November, backed by continual airstrikes. But for the Aleppo civilians caught in the crossfire, there is no respite. Tens of thousands continue to be trapped in a handful of rebel-held districts. They are sending out SOS messages saying they do not know where to take shelter from bombardment. Syria's Russian allies have rejected the idea of pauses in the bombing to allow people to leave or allow injured children to be evacuated. The United Nations and Red Cross have appealed for civilians to be protected. As government forces claim to have captured almost the entire city, opposition says its resolve to remove President Assad from power has not wavered.
إذا كان يظن النظام وحلفاء النظام بشار الأسد وحلفائه إذا حققوا بعض التقدم في بعض أحياء حلب إننا سنقدم تنازل أو نساوم.
The statement does not bode well for residents of Aleppo, 1 lakh of whom are still living in the enclave. And for those who are returning to their homes as they are faced with the daunting task of rebuilding their homes and communities. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, US President-elect Donald Trump picked ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson as the next Secretary of State. If confirmed by the Senate, Tillerson will replace John Kerry as the new head of State Department. Trump dismissed concerns about the Tillerson's close ties with Russia. As ExxonMobil's head, he maintained close ties with Russia and was awarded the Order of Friendship in 2013 by President Vladimir Putin. Trump, meanwhile, delayed an announcement till January on how he plans to step back from running his business empire to avoid conflicts of interest. In a tweet, he said that although he was not mandated by law to do so, he would still leave his business before the 20th of January. After taking over as president, Trump also said his sons will run his businesses during his presidency, but there will be no new deals. Here's a roundup of the other international news and global buzz. The last survey ship searching for missing Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 began its final operation on Monday night. Dutch-owned Fugro Equator left the Australian port of Fremantle and is expected to finish scouring the final portion of the search area by early 2017. Several ships have combed a vast search area in the Indian Ocean since the plane disappeared in 2014, but no wreckage or any clues of the whereabouts of the plane have been found so far. Former Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi formally handed over power to newly appointed Premier Paolo Gentiloni on Monday evening. Earlier, Gentiloni took his oath of office with his cabinet ministers who mainly remain unchanged from the last cabinet in a sign of continuity aimed at reassuring financial markets. Renzi had resigned last week after a referendum vote opposed his plans to make changes in the constitution. The US, South Korea and Japan have pledged to work closely together to impose sanctions against North Korea for its nuclear missile tests. North Korea and nuclear envoys from the three countries met in Seoul for the first time after the UNSC imposed sanctions against North Korea in late November. The sanctions are aimed at cutting the North's annual export revenue by a quarter in response to its fifth and largest nuclear test in September. Let's shift focus to sports news and bring you up to date with all the sports news you might have missed in Sports Beat. Ace Indian quist Pankaj Advani won his 11th World Billiards Championship title in the 150-up format in Bengaluru on Monday. Advani beat multiple world champion Gilchrist by 6 games to 3 in a gripping final contest to wrap up his 16th world title overall. Five-time world champion Vishwanathan Anand drew against Michael Adams in the 4th round of the London Chess Classic. Anand, who has 2 points, will play Philippines-born American Wesley next and must win to keep his title hopes alive. Anand began the tournament with a draw against world number 2 Fabiano Caruana and following it with a win over world number 4. The 47-year-old, however, lost to Hikaru Nakamura in the 3rd round. Real Madrid forward Cristiano Ronaldo beat rival Lionel Messi to win the prestigious Ballon d'Or award for a 4th time. Ronaldo led Portugal to their maiden Euro triumph and also helped Real Madrid win the Champions League this year. Ronaldo is second on the all-time winners list behind Lionel Messi, who has won the prestigious award 5 times. That's it on this newscast. Have a good evening.